Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. I'm Julie Gerard with Aptitude Software. I'm joined here today with April Olson, Head of Product for Microsoft D365. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Julie.
Yeah, I wanted to start off today talking about the Office of the CFO. Obviously, they've experienced a lot of change over the last few years with increasing demands from their stakeholders across the business. What do you see coming for the Office of the CFO and finance as a whole over the next 5 years?
Yeah, the finance organization and specifically the CFO have really taken on a much more strategic role than we've ever seen before. Sometimes we refer to them as the Chief Future Officer. In the past it was more IT-led, but really the CFO is the one that today is responsible for leading digital transformation, which has a lot to do with technology. And so it's been a really interesting journey for them. Finance organizations need to be much more agile and fast-paced than they've ever been before, which in the old days of on-prem world and transactional systems, we didn't see that. But they're the ones responsible for getting those insights and putting that action into play right away. I see a lot of opportunities for finance organizations to really lead in this area, and one is moving to cloud-based software, which I think is natural. We've been talking about that for years, but we just ultimately haven't seen everyone do that. So there's still a bit of opportunity there as well. I think most recently all the buzz has been around generative AI, and although generative AI today and large language models are really great with things like summarization and stuff, there's still many opportunities that really are going to change the way finance works. And I think the CFO is ultimately the one to really lead that in an organization. It's very exciting times for finance.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of pressure, but also a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
And I think technology is coming to meet them halfway and make sure
Absolutely.
that it's there to support and really accelerate all that they can do. So you mentioned cloud and cloud really coming in as an accelerator, and there's more opportunity there, obviously. What other technology components do you think are key to the CFO?
Yeah, it's a great question. And yeah, I think cloud is still kind of first and foremost, and I mentioned generative AI, but the thing that really will make the magic happen and what every organization strives for is bringing that finance and operational data together. And it sounds simple, and there's lots of tools out there that market that you can do that today, but it's really not being realized by most organizations. It's a very expensive, costly thing to do. And I think when we talk today about Aptitude and the Fynapse solution, that's, I think, the power behind it. You're solving that problem that most organizations can't do without extensive, heavy IT projects that are IT-driven versus finance-driven. So I think when you can get that data together on that single platform, then the generative AI on the cloud with the scale and all your data visualizations, that's what changes the game. And they're all components we've been talking about for a while, but like I said, very few organizations have gotten to the point of really realizing that. So I'm excited to share today how Fynapse will actually help organizations reach that goal. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's really key is really putting the tooling into the hands of the finance user. Yes. And obviously that's been an increasing demand on finance, and they've had to become more tech savvy.
Yes.
But at the same time, technology is meeting them halfway with user-focused solutions that are much more intuitive to use. Do you feel like enough is being done there? What more could be done?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that I think would also that have been helping on that journey, and a big part of it is this low code, no code movement. And in the past, again, going back to those on-prem days when finance wanted something, they were heavy projects. That required lots of testing and lots of maintenance, and they disrupted just your standard business processes. And now by having low-code, no-code options, even tech-savvy finance users are able to supplement and include that as part of their designs. If you think about taking composability, if we don't want to move our whole ERP, how do we just get to the close faster? How does Fynapse help that? Well, then how do you use something like a Power App to maybe supplement a small budget or procurement piece of that. Like these are things that are very easy to bring into an organization, increase the productivity of users, and still get that kind of transformation and ROI that organizations are looking for. So, you know, you throw together the tech and the no-code, low-code movement and the increasing tech savviness of finance users, it's a pretty powerful movement that we're seeing for organizations to go on.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about AI before, and I think that there's so many use cases out there for AI, obviously. But as far as value props of AI, that's one of the things I'm so excited about, is I think that it will make technology so much more accessible to people, because I think people feel torn in their skill sets of having to know it all, having to know their core job, which for finance is already very complicated, and also know technology. So just being able to interact with a solution that can recognize natural language and really give them what they need through trustworthy data from ERP solutions and from Fynapse. Ledger trusted financial control on, you know, supplementing that AI information. It's going to be really exciting.
It is really exciting. Gone are the days of 10 clicks instead of just, hey, Julie, what's this balance? I mean, it really is game changing for finance.
Absolutely. So now, what is bringing us together is the exciting partnership between Aptitude and Microsoft. So tell me a little bit about why you approached Aptitude.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a fun question to answer. So I think first and foremost, I mean, whenever we're looking at a solution, it's you know, making sure it has the right capabilities, and in this case, also the finance and accounting experts. We've talked a lot about in the past IT projects, and those just were not, you know, meeting the needs of organizations. So if you want something to truly be successful and you want that ROI and that fast close, finance needs to make sure that they have finance and accounting experts to lead them on that journey. And so I think, you know, the fact that Aptitude was just so rich, I mean, in that area, as well as just had robust capabilities and functionality, you know, cloud-based. And then, of course, I think another big part is the culture. I think we've had a great relationship working together. And you know, we always talk about tech, but you can't ignore the human aspect. So having a similar culture, as well as really rich capabilities and the finance accounting experts that organizations expect, was a big reason why we chose and have loved working with Aptitude on the Fynapse solution.
Yes.
So let me hand it back to you now, Julie.
Right. Twist.
All right, I love it. So we have been working together, which has been really fun to make sure we have the most comprehensive end-to-end solution for Dynamics customers with Fynapse. So maybe describe the value that the solution brings to finance organizations, especially Dynamics customers.
Yeah. So I think Fynapse is hitting on a lot of the topics that we just discussed. So user-focused, cloud-first, being able to automate out a lot of the manual processes that currently exist, and centralized functions for the betterment of your data, for more consistency. And that's what really Fynapse is there to do. Takes in business event level data, transforms it into accounting in a consistent and easily managed way, and therefore it has a location for that granular data and can be sent on to the ERPs like Microsoft D365 through an integrated solution that allows you to drill back into that data. So I know we've worked a lot on the integration together and making sure that it's just really a seamless offering for the users, and that they have access to all the data in the ERP and can drill right through into that granular rich data in Fynapse.
Yeah, I think that drill back is the number one thing that just sells a finance user, because there's no doubt it eliminates the risk they have, the trust it immediately builds in them when they can see that, you know, that drill back from that source system. You know, there are other ERP solutions out there that have, you know, similar capabilities, but I feel like Aptitude has a great differentiated solution here. How would you describe what differentiates Aptitude's solution from others?
We've worked really hard on this. I mean, you know, it is all next generation technology, really capitalizing on everything that's out there right now. It's also really leaning into what I like to call SaaS 2.0. So, you know, we've learned from SaaS and the original, you know, form of it and the pain points of complexities, and especially in finance, there's just unique use cases out there. So we've built a solution that's truly flexible and extendable so that we can really lean into the fact that we are here to support your complexities, to support your granular data, and to provide you with a tool that's productized so that it still gets all the benefits of SaaS, and it's supported, right? So I think that's one of the main things. What also is unique about it is we take a very open approach. So we really lean into partnerships like this, where we can partner with somebody like Microsoft and have that integrated solution, and we have that open approach to the data, because at the end of the day, it's their data, and they need to use it how they want to use it. They need to leverage the tooling that is right for their enterprise, and however we can integrate with those systems to make sure that that's a seamless experience and that they have that optionality is really key.
Great. Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Yes. So let's talk autonomous finance.
Yes.
Definitely a big word out there, but just as far as what it means, right? Today, we're automating a lot of things and in a great way, in that intuitive experience, but it's still dependent on predefined rules that require human oversight. Autonomous finance, however, takes it the next step, and it talks about solutions that can identify scenarios, that can adapt its ruling to the scenarios all on its own, and can even predict what the data is saying and what will happen in the future. What are your thoughts on autonomous finance?
Yeah, I think autonomous finance is a journey that we're all on. And when I break it down, I think there's components of it, and I think it's the magic of how it all comes together. When we think about autonomous finance, obviously automation. I mean, we still need to automate at least that 80-90% of some of our business processes to reduce that manual work on our users. But then we look at where does AI come in and supplement that, like you mentioned. How do we use natural language query to react to those exceptions of those rules and make the productivity gains of a user when they are dealing with that. And then when we talked about Fynapse and bringing all this finance and operational data together, that is the richest data an organization has. So thinking about the insights that you can get out of it, not just analytics, but insights. What is the data telling you that you might not have known? And then you bring those three together, and now it's a system of insight and action where you're really just reacting to anomalies. And I think that's the magic. And I think we're on a journey. I think we're still seeing automation and the introduction of generative AI. I think we'll get to even more complex, machine learning cases. But really, that system of insight, getting away from entry and the system telling us what we need to do, and us just reacting to that and collaborating as humans and bringing that human aspect to really supplement the technology is where it's going. And I think it'll take years to get there, but it's moving at a pace that I've never seen for finance. So that's how we think about the journey to autonomous finance that we're all on.
It does. It feels more and more in sight, and certainly a very appealing vision. Really, like we said, getting those finance users back into a place where they get to do what they were meant to do.
Absolutely. But first, you got to get that data all together.
Exactly. Not an easy feat.
Right. Exactly.
So we've talked a lot about what is enabling these things like autonomous finance. What do you see as the key blockers right now to achieving this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen that we've done some studies actually at Microsoft and with different finance leaders, and it's remarkably very similar blockers for AI, automation, and analytics, which really ultimately leads to autonomous finance. And I would say the number one common variable is still those data silos. Again, we've seen most of our customers have anywhere, I would say, from 25 to 250 different systems that they have to bring data together. And it could be line of business applications, it could be different ERP or source systems, whatever it might be. And that is still a huge barrier to bring that data together to make sense of it and get it transformed in a way that you can actually do analytics and get insights out of. So that still today remains the number one reason, which is, again, why our partnership is so important, because we've just never seen capabilities like Fynapse to do that and help organizations on their way. And then I think, obviously, building trust is always a big one, security and compliance, but Then I would say the last one is change management. You know, it's still hard to drive change in organizations because they get out of their comfort zone. They have to trust a system is going to automate things for them. They have to trust the system is going to give them the data that is accurate. So there's always a human element. The technology is amazing, but we can never ignore the human element, especially in finance organizations where we're very typically conservative. Yeah. So I think, you know, if we can, you know, get that data together, which the tech and our solution and our partnership helps with, and then really lead and bring trust to our humans in the finance organization, I think that will overcome the blockers that we're seeing.
Definitely. I think those are two really key points. Yep. Absolutely. So one more question before we leave off. What are you most excited about in the world of finance?
Well, I think what I'm most excited about is it's the first time finance has been front and center. I mean, really, we talk a lot about the solution that we're working on together and bringing that data together. And we've always talked about it. And this is the first time I'm seeing it move at a pace where the CFO and finance orgs get to reap all the benefits and are the focus, you know, and again, all the other parts of the organization, super critical, just as important, but finance is driving it, and I love finance, and you love finance, so it's fun for me to see things changing for those organizations. I do love the ability for the natural language query and changing how they interact with the data. And I love seeing finally solutions out there that really bring that data together. So the data and what we can do with it is probably the most exciting thing that I'm seeing, which is really moving at a very quick pace.
Definitely. Yeah, we talked a lot about the increasing demands on the CFO and finance. But now they're just so empowered to be that focal point now, you know, and I think supported by technology that's really coming up to speed with what they need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, April, this has been really great. A lot of really insightful answers from you. So thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you. It's always been great working with you and your organization.